Hello and welcome to Betfred South Africa's YouTube channel. This is our sports variety football show where we give you the latest football and we also give you a preview of what to expect in today's fixtures. This obviously is just for today's games. We'll be doing this again tomorrow to give you an update on what's going to be happening in tomorrow's action. Today is Saturday and it's the 4th of March 2023, and we got a couple of games coming your way, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the Dstv Premiership. I'm going to take you to the Premier League. We're going to take on some European fixtures with La Liga and the Bundesliga, and then we're going to move on over and go check out what's happening on the African continent. My name is Bocum, and like I said, this is Betfred's football variety show where we give you the latest previews of what games are coming up and what you should expect from those games. Stick around till the end when I'll be giving you my predictions for the games I'm going to be choosing coming into the weekend. Let's start off with Saturday, and well, today is Saturday. Let's start off with the games that are taking place in South Africa. Obviously, the Dstv Premiership is the place to be, but that's not the only league that will be in action in South Africa in terms of the top flight this Saturday. So obviously, we've got a game taking place in the Dstv Premiership at 3:30. It's Richards Bay FC versus Kaizer Chiefs. That one's going to be a big one. And then at 6:15 in the evening, we've got Royal AM taking on Coton United. And then we also have at 8 o'clock, Nagota Generations, Maritzburg United versus Cape Town City. When we will go on to the Matipa Foundation Championship, Baroka FC versus La Masia. We also want to see Cape Town All-Stars taking on Platinum City Rovers. And then Cedric Stars are going to be in action against Magesi, while we also want to see Hungry Lions coming up against none other than Cape Town Spurs. And then JDR Stars are going to be in action against Untagat. Yes. And then we all Untongati. Sorry about that. And then we also got you with some games taking place in the Diski Challenge. We have Orlando Pirates taking on Super Sports United. That is the action that's coming out of South Africa's very own home-brewed football. Back to the Dstv Premiership, where we talk about Richards Bay FC versus Kaizer Chiefs, Royal AM versus Coton United, and also Maritzburg United, who are going to be in action against Cape Town City. Let me not miss my words. Let me pick my game of the weekend from South Africa. I'm going to go with Kaizer Chiefs versus Richards Bay FC, a game that many of us have been very accustomed to seeing in recent times. Richards Bay FC has actually started off the league quite so well. They were sitting in the top 2 for the longest time in the Dstv Premiership, but they had their own shortfalls, they had their own difficulties, and they could not maintain that position. As things currently stand, they're sitting 11 on points with Kaizer Chiefs at 31 apiece. And this is after Richards Bay FC went through a bad run of form. Now let me talk you through their last 5 games. Now Richards Bay FC in their last 5 games have 3 losses and 2 draws to their name, putting them now on 31 points. And for Kaizer Chiefs, sorry, see, Mamelodi Sundowns always on my left. For Kaizer Chiefs on the other side, it's been a very interesting 2 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw in their last 5 fixtures. Also, not coming in succession in terms of win-win, draw-draw, loss-loss. They've come as a loss, win, draw, loss, win. So which kind of currently paints a picture of a team that is struggling for form. When we talk about the team streaks, we're talking about Richards Bay FC having 4 games without a loss, which is a good thing. And they also have 6 games with no wins, which is very scary from their perspective. That kind of extends what we were saying about their last 5 games. It says that they've been struggling to keep clean sheets. They have 6 games now without a clean sheet. And it says they've been involved in games that had less than 2.5 goals in their last 7 out of 9 fixtures. Kaizer Chiefs, on the other hand, have been the first team to score in 4 out of their last 5 matches, while on the other side, Richards Bay FC have been the first team to concede in their matches, 5 out of their last 5 footballing matches. Talking about both of these teams, let's start off with the team that's playing the home game, Richards Bay FC. They faced Stellenbosch and lost that game by 2-1, and before that, they played against Coton United. They lost that game by 2-0. The last time this team tasted a win was against Morumo Gallants, and guess when? Back on the 14th of January. It's now March, everybody, painting a picture. It's the 4th of March today, which means that the whole of February has been a dismal month for Richards Bay FC. Talking about Kaizer Chiefs, they come into this game on the back of a Orlando Pirates win, boosting confidence and also boosting their morale coming into this game. They'll also want to kind of put on momentum and have a couple of wins in a row. And they will know how important that momentum is, because they did go through a spell in January where they struggled for the results. From the 7th of January till the 29th of January, they struggled to pick up a win. They had 3 losses in a row. They lost to Coton United, Amazulu, and Sundowns, and then they turned it around when they actually won against Royal AM. They drew to TS Galaxy. At this point of the season, everybody was drawing to TS Galaxy, but they managed to draw to TS Galaxy. They beat Maritzburg United by 2-0. Then they lost to Golden Arrows before they played Orlando Pirates, and in the Soweto Derby, Kaizer Chiefs managed to walk away with the bragging rights, and that's how we sit on today's one. I'll be giving you the prediction for this one later on. Now let's move on to the Premiership, all the way in England. Now the Premier League obviously has a couple of big games, but the key underlining theme is going to be the title race. Now title race, obviously we're talking about the champion of the Premier League. The holding champions are currently sitting just 5 points behind the contenders, the main contenders to win the title, which is Arsenal. Many have argued, as Arsenal gonna keep this run up, will Arsenal be able to go all the way? And I've always said that I believe that they will. But looking at just today's fixtures, let me give you an idea of what to expect from the Premier League. We start off with Manchester City taking on Newcastle United at 2:30 this afternoon. We'll have Arsenal taking on Bournemouth. We've got Aston Villa taking on Crystal Palace. We've got Brentford taking on Fulham. We also have Brighton of Albion taking on West Ham United, and we also want to see Chelsea taking on Leeds United. Wolverhampton Wanderers and Tottenham Hotspurs will all be kicking off at 5 o'clock. So that's the goal rush from Arsenal versus Bournemouth to Tottenham Hotspurs versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. All those games are kicking off at 5 o'clock. The late kickoff will be Southampton versus Leicester City. But for myself, obviously I got to pick a game from this one, and I definitely am going to go with none other than Manchester City versus Newcastle United. I know Arsenal are also going to be in action on the same day, which is today, but to give you a better understanding of why I went for this game is because when you look at both these sides coming into this game, I mean, Newcastle United just come out of a defeat against Manchester United, the other side of Manchester, and that defeat was at was in the final of the Carabao Cup, which means that the scars with the wounds are still fresh. This is their first game they want to be playing in the month of March, and the first game they want to be playing after the final of the Carabao Cup. 67 years they waited to play. And when they finally got there, they faced an informed Manchester United with an informed Marcus Rashford, which kind of paints a picture which can be a little grim for many footballing fans. But let's get back to the business at hand. Manchester City are sitting 5 points behind the title chasers, which is Arsenal. Manchester City are sitting on 55 points themselves. Newcastle United are sitting on 41 points. They sit just 4 points behind Tottenham Hotspurs, who are sitting all the way up in 4th. Liverpool have moved up miraculously behind everyone's back while no one was watching, to 6th position, just behind Newcastle United. So it's not about just where Newcastle United can see themselves go, but it's also about who's breathing over their shoulder. They have 2 teams sitting on 39 points behind them, which is Liverpool and Fulham. And Brighton of Albion sit on 35 points just behind Newcastle United. Newcastle United is still in reach for them to make it into the top 4, with Tottenham Hotspur just sitting 4 points ahead of them. This game will be taking place at the Etihad. The referee will be a man by the name of Simon Hopper. You can look him up and see his red card, yellow card ratio. And speaking of which, let's talk about the head-to-head streak between these two sides. Manchester City United is always on my tongue. Manchester City at this point have 8 games, no losses. 8 games, no losses. And it says that Newcastle United come into this game after failing to keep a clean sheet in their last 15 fixtures. And going further down, we've got you with going further down. Manchester City have been fortunate enough to be involved in games that have seen more than 2.5 goals in 5 out of their last 6 fixtures. While on the other side, Manchester City have been the first team to score in their 9 out of their last 10 games. When we go to the team streaks away from the head-to-head, we see that Manchester City have 6 games with no losses, while on the other side, Newcastle United are sitting there with 4 games with no wins. So it kind of paints a grim picture for both sides. In fact, it paints a big grim picture for one side in particular, which is Newcastle United, which it looks like, based on form, will not be the team coming into this one to actually pick up a winning result. Manchester City faced Bristol City, put 3 goals past them. They may have faced Bournemouth before that. That was on the 25th of February. They put 3 or 4 goals past them to win the game 4-1. For Newcastle United, they lost their last game against Manchester United by 2 goals to 0. Before that, they played Liverpool, where they lost 2 goals to 0. And they had 2 back-to-back 1 goal each draws against Bournemouth and also against West Ham United. So no, things are looking good for them in the month of love, the month of February. but maybe they can turn around with a result against Manchester City. That is up to you. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And then going further away from that, we go to the La Liga versus we go to La Liga and the Bundesliga, where we're going to be looking at what's happening in terms of Spanish and German football. In Spain, we have games kicking off at 3 o'clock. We've got Getafe kicking off at 3 o'clock against Girona. We've got Almeria kicking off against Villarreal at 5:15, and we also have Mallorca taking on Elche at 7:30 in the afternoon. And last but not least, Atletico Madrid will be in action at 10 p.m. tonight at against Sevilla. So Atletico Madrid will be in action tonight against Sevilla at 10 p.m. In the Bundesliga, we've got you with a couple of games as well. Augsburg take on Werder Bremen. Bocum take on Schalke 04. While we also want to see Borussia Mönchengladbach in action against Freiburg. Mainz will be kicking off against Hoffenheim. While we also have Union Berlin kicking off against Cologne. And Stuttgart will be taking on Bayern Munich. It was a hard decision to pick between these two leagues, which game I'm going to go for today to talk about and also to break down in more depth. But I'm going to go for a game that I believe most of us will want to overlook when we're looking at the games coming from Spain and Germany for today. And that game is going to be Bocum versus Schalke 04. The reason I've went for this game, obviously kicking off at 4:30 this afternoon, is because looking at both these sides, we're looking at sides that have been struggling for results and also sides that have signed players but also have not been able to make them work in front of goal or in defense. Now, Schalke 04 have a long list of injuries. It's about 9 players who are currently injured as things currently stand. Justin Herken injured, Latza injured, Porter injured, Tim Skak injured, Sepp van der Berg, who's on loan from Liverpool, injured. That is a list of 9 players injured for Schalke 04. They currently sit bottom of the table on 16 points, 3 points behind their opponents, which they're going to be facing today at 4:30, which is Bocum. And when you talk about the form, we don't want to talk about these two sides because in the last 5 games, Schalke 04 have drawn 4 and only won 1 game, which was the last game they were in action. And for Bocum, they've only won 1 and lost all 4 out of their last 5 games. Now let me give you an idea of how it looks between the two sides head to head. It says here that the Schalke have not lost this game in their last 6 encounters, while it says here that Bocum have failed to keep a clean sheet against this opposition in their last 15 meetings, believe it or not. In fact, 15 meetings overall in all competitions. And it says here that Schalke have been first half winners in 5 out of their last 6 meetings against this opposition. Going away from the head to head into the team streak, we see that no losses for Bocum in their last 4 games. And it says here that it's a very sad picture. I pronounced that wrong. It's supposed to say 4 losses in a row for Bocum, and it says here no losses for Schalke 04 in their last 5 matches. That's what I was trying to say. Looking at the last games they've played, you're looking at losing streak. For Bocum, they faced the following teams in this losing streak. They lost to Werder Bremen, they lost to Freiburg, they lost to Bayern Munich, they lost to Borussia Dortmund, all in a row. And the last time they managed to win a game was a 5-2 thrashing of Hoffenheim, which kind of gives you a different picture. They've struggled to score goals for the whole of February, and then in January, they managed to beat Bocum by 5-2. And then we take it to the German Bundesliga, where we see 4 draws in a row for Schalke. They drew against the Union Berlin, they drew against Wolfsburg, they drew against Borussia Mönchengladbach, and they definitely also drew against Cologne. And they had 2 losses before that, a 6-1 loss to Leipzig and a 3-0 loss to Eintracht Frankfurt, and then that has also been a grim picture for both these sides. So for when it comes to these two sides, I'll give you the prediction just now, but as you can see, two sides both struggling, both sitting at the bottom, at the foot of the table in the German Bundesliga, and definitely both need a result. Last but not least, we wrap it up with Ahly versus Coton Sports. They sit in a group with Mamelodi Sundowns, Al Hilal. Then the 2 teams are going to be Ahly and Coton Sport. The reason why this game is being played in isolation away from all the other games, in meaning that there's no other CAF games taking place in this group, is because it's a catch-up game. Because when the CAF Champions League kicked off, the FIFA Club World Cup was still taking place, and Wydad Casablanca and Al Ahly were still in action in those competitions. They returned, but they returned too late to participate in those opening games. So this is a catch-up game for Al Ahly. You saw the catch-up game yesterday with Wydad Casablanca. Al Ahly will be very much in action with this one. They have 1 loss and 1 draw in terms of their form in this competition, while Coton Sport themselves have 2 losses in a row in this very competition. A head-to-head between these two sides would read as follows. It says here, Al Ahly, not Mamelodi Sundowns. It says here Al Ahly have 5 wins against this opposition, and it says here Al Ahly have no losses in the last 6 matches against Coton Sport. And it says here, in terms of a streak for either side, it says here that Coton Sport have 3 losses in a row, while it says Ahly have not suffered a defeat in their last 3 games. Now let's paint a picture of how these teams come into this game. We have Ahly, who played against Mamelodi Sundowns last time out in this competition and drew 2-2. Then they went on to go play in the Egyptian Premier League, where they faced a team by the name of Al Dakaila, and they drew by 1-1. On the other side, we've got you with Ahly. We spoke about Ahly. We're moving on to talk about Coton Sport. They lost out to Al Hilal and Mamelodi Sundowns back-to-back in this competition, and those are the last 2 fixtures they've played. The last time they were playing in their own domestic competition, they League 1, they did lose out to a team by Eden Sport by 1-0. So Coton Sport and Ahly coming into this game. And if you want to ask me more, my prediction for this one is very, very simple. But let me take you through my predictions for today. Kaizer Chiefs versus Richards Bay FC. I'm going to go for a Kaizer Chiefs win or a draw. I would love to go for a Richards Bay FC win, but I'm going to give Kaizer Chiefs the benefit of the doubt and hope that they can make it 2 out of 2. Manchester City versus Newcastle United. As much as I would like a fairy tale win for Newcastle United after the return of Nick Pope, I'm definitely going to give this one to Manchester City and think to myself that because they're chasing the title and they're still behind, they're definitely going to look and want that result. Bocum versus RB Leipzig. See, now I'm jumping to RB Leipzig. Bocum versus Schalke 0-4. We're going to go for a simple one here. It's either going to be a draw or it's going to weigh in favor of Schalke 0-4. Last but not least, my last prediction is going to be Ahly versus Coton Sport, and I'm going to weigh in and lean towards Ahly Soccer Club. And that's what I'm going to go with there. Don't forget, you can check out our latest specials. Just stay tuned to this. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like our content, and leave us a beautiful comment. We will be starting to run competitions soon on this platform. And now, as we are launching and starting to give you content through YouTube, make sure to drop us a comment below. And we'll definitely take any suggestions you might have. We'll also take any feedback you'd like to give us. Make sure that you also check out our website. We'll keep the link in the description below, or I'll put it in the box right up here for you to be able to access it and be able to just go on and create a bet slip for yourself. My name is Dstv. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you again tomorrow when we do all of this again.